It was at that moment. It was at moments where there were that of which that was at that moment. He realized, they realized, she realized, he or she and he realized. They what did they realize? They realized something big, something amazing, something grand, something great. It was good. It was an okay realization. It was not that good, but it was okay. Um, it was like a really cool realization. Like it was big. It was huge. It was it was something. Uh, Here I am. Here we are, back with another podcast. Somebody rolled the intro. We don't have an intro. No music. Can we get music? No. Okay. Sorry, I'm talking to my team of podcasters behind me, my executive team right behind me, as you can see or hear. You can hear my team behind me. So yeah, we're back with the podcast. 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 Oh my god. Oh my god. It's been decades. It's been like 2 years. It might have been a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I don't know. There's an unreleased podcast that I have where it's not even like a podcast, really. It's me rambling for like half an hour about the good old days, and nobody wants to hear that. Some people go insane. Some people kill politicians. That's not my joke. That's somebody else's joke, and it is a joke. But the last time I spoke, I didn't upload it because it seemed like it would have been very like depressing, but not depressing, but like kind of real, like really grounded, like you're grounded. Go to your room. You can't stay here anymore. You're ungrounded. We need you. We need you back. It's been years, and we got one secret top mission for you to do. One last mission. The last mission. Mission Impossible. 5, 6, 7. I think there's like 8 of them, and that's a lot of damn movies. Did you know that Simon Pegg was in Mission Impossible? The guy from Dawn of the Dead, not Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead is also a movie. It's a movie. It's kind of a shitty movie. But I rewatched it recently, and it's entertaining enough. The remake that what's his name did or whatever. The movie is so goddamn ridiculous. I will say, it's got the guy from Pulp Fiction. Uh, Either way, Simon Pegg is the guy from Shaun of the Dead, and he's in the Mission Impossible movie. So you know, there's there it is. That's just you know the correlation. There's your reference. Did you know? But no, the last time I did like a podcast thing, it was like I talked for like 30 minutes, and I was like rambling about like, and I was just not feeling good. When I was very like clear headed, clear minded, a state of mind that I hadn't been in like a minute. Um, and nowadays, I mean, I'm still kind of the same way. I might upload that. I might. I might. I might play a snippet for you guys today. And if you don't know, this is I honestly I don't know what the quality of the previous podcasts were, but it's going to change a little bit. Um, I was really in a phase of in those previous podcasts of being very um uh excavated, excluded, excavate. What does that word mean? Excavate? What does excavate mean? Excavate. Like digging? I was really dug in. I was dug in. And it didn't seem like I was going to change. And, that's kind of a bummer. That's a bummer place to be, I guess. But it's required sometimes. And I think I was just like dug in until I dug myself out. I really dug myself in, and I was really responsible for digging myself in. It was like there was a big giant hole. I'm talking big, like a big hole. And I jumped in, and I forgot to like, you know, bring my stuff. Or I brought some stuff, but I didn't bring any tools to get out of the hole. So I was just down in a hole listening to that song going 90 miles an hour down the highway. And then I realized, oh wait, this makes sense. I'm down in a hole. Now I'm not. None of that. It is what it is. That's all I'm saying. So for the past couple years, just been chilling. But no, getting out into the world. I think that's what it is too. The more experiences that you have can kind of bring you out of a particular place. Even if you go back to like a particular place, you still have resources to get yourself out or in any situation, really out of a situation, out of all situations. I think it's routine. It's kind of like the best way to go about things is to have a plan that you create, a created plan. And that's what I want to talk about today. No, for real. I had the urge to do these podcasts again, but I just didn't put aside time to actually do it. I think the thing of it is, though, I mean, honestly, is I've wasted a lot of time by trying to like stack paper and buy cool shit, like, you know, like a PlayStation 5, which I have. It's digital. So, yeah. Got it for $100 cheaper, bought it at retail, bought it at a Best Buy. So, yeah. I'm doing pretty good. I got like 20 hours into that Cyberpunk game. It's okay. I give it like a thumbs up and a half. Like it's pretty freaking jank. It's okay. Like it's a fun game. It's one of those games where you can walk around. Like I got really bored, so I was walking around, and I was walking around like dense like city areas, and that's kind of cool. The aesthetic is all right. But yeah, I got my own PlayStation 5. Always wanted one. It's a complete lie. I haven't had a PlayStation since the PlayStation 3 back in 08, 09. And honestly, I really just kind of fell off on gaming. Like, I mean, I have a computer, I have games that I just don't play. I used to try to like force myself to play a video game while I was in grind mode, Operation Grind Set, grinding as much dollar bills as I can stack. And I thought, yeah, you know, let me get back into the video games. You know, that's what I liked back in the day. Try playing that Elden Ring game. That was something. That might have been the first game that I started to play again. Either that or I think it was Doom. Did it with like Doom Eternal. Those were the first games that like I got back into the video game scene. I don't want to talk about video games this entire podcast, but I'm talking about like habits that you form while you're in a mode of doing something, whether it be like you're working very hard at something and you know, like, sorry, I'm bumping into the microphone a little bit, and you know you're going to be spending like a lot of time doing this particular thing, and you know that you're going to have like off time. And some people do things with their off time, like, I don't know, hang out with friends and family. Some people weight lift, which I got back into recently. Not like extensively, but it's definitely something that can help with routines, monotony. Video games do help with monotony, I will say. For me, with video games, though, it takes a while for me to get into a video game. Like, I have to sit there and browse the video game catalog on the PlayStation Store for an hour and a half before I either just don't play a video game or play the previous game that I was already playing. Like I'll think to myself, yeah, I'm gonna get into that Final Fantasy game. Yeah, that sounds fun. Final Fantasy. It's a popular game. It's an RPG. You can do stuff. And then I play like a Call of Duty match for like 5 minutes, and I realize, God, Call of Duty sucks. And then I exit out of the game, and then I turn off the PlayStation, and then I cook ramen and feel really depressed. But no, but when I get into a game, I can really sink a lot of hours into it. Cyberpunk being one of them, an unexpected one. That was one of the first games that I got when I got the PlayStation 5, because it was like $20, and it's like, damn, that game was so hyped up in 2020, and it really just did not make the cut. And now I'm getting to play it for $20. Hey, and they updated it a lot, so apparently there's not as many bugs now as there were then, and it kind of shows, but it's still really janky. But as like a frame of reference of time that I sink into video games realistically, I don't see how people sink so much time into video games. But at the same time, I can kind of see where at one end of the spectrum, people are sinking time into video games, and the other side of it is playing on their phone or just not doing anything, watching TV, I guess. So I guess video games are better than watching TV, I guess. Or being on social media, I guess. But I mean, it's all cheesy. It's all bad. Like, it's not like the story, for instance, in this game, this Cyberpunk game, like the dialogue is so like fucking like cheesy. I don't know how other way to describe that. It's not like magnificent. I mean, it's not like Red Dead Redemption 1 quality storytelling. Like an example of the dialogue is like, even your main characters, I hate the main character. The way they respond to other people in the game is just like irritating. Like, I gotta play this character? This character sucks. It'll give you dialogue options for, like, okay, listen, here. So you're in the game and you're playing like a mission, and then you have to go talk to a person, and this person says, hey, did you get this thing for me? Like, did you accomplish like so you got that thing, right? And you have like 3 responses, and it's so like, the responses are like, reduced down to like 4 words, and it's going to be like whole sentences that your character is going to say, but it's reduced down to like, yes, I got the thing, yes, I got the thing in a rude way, or something like that. But the writing in this game is very very new aged, where like you can say, yes, I got the thing, and you expect to just say it just like that, and that be the end of the conversation. But you'll click on that dialogue option, and your character will be like, yeah, I got the fucking thing. No thanks to your help. What the fuck did my character just say? I click, yes, I got the thing, and that was the response, eh? That's what the whole game is like in terms of dialogue and talking with people in the game. So the game is, not to take it at face value, but it looks how it sounds, and it sounds how it looks. Cyberpunk 2077. Huh. This is going to be some Oscar-winning writing. The game is okay. Like, it's on the verge of wanting to be a good game, but it's just there. It's okay. It's no Red Dead. There's no like deep story or anything. It's okay. It's playable, but it's not something that I would invest my attention to fully, because I don't really respect the writing of the game, and just I don't really respect the game in and of itself. It's not like Red Dead Redemption. Even Red Dead Redemption 2, that game I don't respect as much as the first one, because the second one is just, it's okay. It's pretty good. I mean, the main character is fucking awesome in that game. It's like a real person. You follow the story of this person throughout the entirety. You're playing like that game for like 20 hours, 20 plus hours, 20, 40 hours. And it's worth it. The guy's not an asshole like your character in Cyberpunk, for no reason, like, at all. You can make yourself an asshole in Red Dead, which is cool, or you can be a good guy or a bad guy. In the Cyberpunk game, you're just constantly snooty, and I don't know if I like that. I don't know, but it's there for people that want to be snooty in a video game, like right off the rip, like automatically snooty. So overall, games are really, they're hit or miss nowadays. They're hit or miss nowadays, and I say that because they take decades to make. For some reason, people that make games are taking decades to make their next game, and then when they release their game that took decades to make, it's unfinished. It's not as they promised, and doesn't look as good as they show in their previews. Gameplay mechanics, the way that you play the game, features that might not even be in the game, and you still have to pay $70 for it, and you had to wait for a decade before you could play the game. Meanwhile, like 20 years ago, for instance, Grand Theft Auto 3 came out in 2001, and then the superior, one of the best games ever made, Vice City, comes out a year later. And then the biggest one, San Andreas, comes out 2 years after Vice City. They're working on GTA 6 still, with no official release date or official statement or poster or gameplay or anything. And GTA 5 came out in 2013 as an example of the state of video games nowadays. Meanwhile, Call of Duty is crazy. There's that war shooter, the first-person shooter known as Call of Duty. Yes, that game. That game is released every year, without question, and it is the exact same thing every year. But it just gets progressively worse and worse and bad and not good, more and more not good. It's just kind of ridiculous. Video games. People play games. I don't play games. I'm not playing any games. I'm not playing games right now. I'm not going to play games in 4 hours. But I might. But I don't really, I just don't really play games that much. And again, it's a good hobby to have if you're sinking a lot of time into a profession, for instance. Like, when I was working 2 years ago, when I tried to get back into video games, I decided that it was a pretty good hobby. I was almost going to say side hustle. I nearly said side. Playing video games after a long day of 9 to 5 is a great side hustle. World building and being able to do things, I guess. But no, when you're in like a profession that takes a lot of time, but you have like a little bit of free time after your profession, I think it is kind of a healthy alternative to have some type of hobby while that is kind of like video games, that you don't have to think about too much, and still kind of function without it like annihilating your life. But it's one of those hobbies that some people have to not get them through the day, but like it's there for them when they want to play a video game. It's like I don't see it as a bad hobby. Like I don't know, people do everything. People make figurines and stuff like that. People play board games, and some people do nothing. There's a lot of people that just do nothing, which is odd. Like and it might be the case where, like, if you have kids, if you have like a family or something like that, so you really can't do too much. So you're in that family cycle where you get home in the evenings. You watch Extreme Makeover Home Edition at 7:30. Kids go to bed at 9. You get blackout drunk at 9:30. You wake up at 6 or 5:45, and you hit the snooze alarm until 6:45. That's not like it's not a hobby. It's something that you're forced into doing. Unless you knew right out the gate that this is going to be like your routine at some point in time, then that's pretty cool, I guess. If you can manage that, if you want to do that, it's something that you kind of have to want to do. If you know, like in your childhood, that routine of getting home from school and that cycle, and you think to yourself, like, I want to be able to do this every day again when I'm an adult, then I guess the family life is your hobby. You know, me and my kids, we're not going to watch Extreme Makeover. We're going to watch Blue Velvet every day. And Guy Fieri, Guy's Grocery Games, every day after they get home from school. I'm going to pick them up, get some McDonald's. We're going to go home and watch Guy Fieri. Fieri. Guy's Grocery Games. It's a good show. I like Guy Fieri. I like his shows. He's got some pretty good shows. He's got some I don't know, he's got some pretty banging shows, man. Guy's Grocery Games is it's up there. It's pretty good. It's a good show. It's not like it's not as good as like, I don't know, Ghost Adventures or something like that, but it's a decent enough show. But yeah, people need hobbies for their profession. Unless your profession is like something that you're spending 24/7 doing because you want to just do that 24/7 and you don't want any hobbies, then it's it's kind of like a ticking time bomb, I will say. That if your profession, you have to soak up 24 hours a day into that profession, that's not like a bad thing. It's really not like a terrible, no good thing. It's something to keep an eye on, though, because I've been completely absorbed by work before, and I've had some great months, and then I've had bad months. That's nothing like sinking your entire life into your work and having a bad month out of it. Most times that should not happen, but if something bad does happen in your profession, and it really like gives you a bad day, like you'll self explode. You'll destruct. You'll self destruct. And it seems like it would be unwarranted for like someone that kind of has more tools to ground themselves and has a hobby outside of their work. A particular event may not be as cataclysmic or catastrophic as someone that devotes 24 hours a day into their work. Because I've had it happen to me before. I mean, I think a lot of people have, where they're trying to do their best and then something happens that's bullshit. Usually it is bullshit that gets in the way. It's not going to be like something legit. If it was something legitimate, then rationale speaks and says, okay, rationally speaking, this is just the way that it is. As opposed to, something happening that could have been prevented, 100% could have been prevented, but it not being in your hands, like something that was caused out of your hands by someone else, preventing you from doing your best job because it was out of your hands, and now it was ruined, which was initially your body of work. That can cause someone to self-destruct. Instead of, being 100% responsible for your job. I mean, you got to think too. In your profession, you're going to be working with people that are going to work harder than you and get the same result or better results than you. And you're going to have people that work not a fraction of the work that you put in. They're going to make more than you. And you're going to work with people that don't take their job seriously when you're conducting yourself in a professional way. And like, for instance, if you are doing your job so good that you don't need the help of others, that is probably the best place to be. But if you have to get people involved that aren't taking their job as serious as you're taking it, even in that moment, say it might not be like a, there might be months, like I've said, there have been months where I've taken my job so seriously before just to make as much money as possible, and it blows out the water everyone that's around me. Like I ignore everyone that's around me because I have to, because my energy, my work energy is so above them that if I were to interact with them, it would lower myself and my I would schism and be reverted back down to low minded thinking, working incels, or just terrible work ethic. My work ethic and that high state of working is like more money than, is what makes more money than a lot of people in whatever field. Like say if you're working as like a nurse or something, and you have you have to like check off all the boxes on checking patients and doing this, and you replaced all their IV bags and it was perfect. You had to give this person a shot. You had to do this over here. And you did that without a hitch. Meanwhile, you got people that are fumbling around you like papers and their documents, and they're not filing stuff properly. If you have to stop and help them understand the level of efficiency that you're trying to be at, they're going to pull you away from doing your best at your job, at your profession. And you know, when you are working at that peak performance, you understand that nobody is going to help me, and that's a good thing. Not like a low-minded thinking like nobody's going to help me, even if I need, like, you go from asking people to help to telling people what to do in that high performing working mindset, where if something has to get done by somebody else, you tell them that this has to be done, and you tell it to them, and then you walk away from them as if they still don't exist. Like if you say like, hey, you have to sign, if you have to get somebody, like for instance, like if you have to get somebody to sign something, sometimes if you go up to them and you say, hey, you have to sign this paper, sometimes they'll ask questions. They'll start asking questions like, what am I signing? What is this? And then they'll start asking questions about what it is that they're signing. Why, like, oh my God, like I just need you to sign this thing so I can, like, and that brings like your work performance down. But if you just go up to them in that peak working performance and say, hey, sign this right quick, and then you get the signature and you're gone. I mean, usually in that sort of particular instance, if you just say, sign this with enough authority, they will, even if it's like your boss or something, or someone that's, I don't know, works above you or something. I think what I'm trying to say, like the point being is that if you spend months working at top performance, you really don't have hobbies outside of that, because you constantly have to fuel this work performing mind with like good food, good exercise. And if you were to do something like play a video game until your eyes bleed, then you're going to lower your performance at your job. If your job is performance based, if it's not performance based, do whatever, you know. Like if you work construction or something, or if you're an electrician, you probably want to read up on some stuff for sure as to like improve your trade. But if it's like dead end labor or just a dead end position in general, I mean, you can really fuck around and not really do much at all. But the most successful job that you can have is something that is performance based, that pays you based on what you bring to the table, whether it be skill set, trade, a certification, a degree, experience, and proven track record, like a history of that position, the best way to balance that, I would say, is to have your off days meticulously planned. Um, my best performing, the best I've ever performed at a job, I would say would be about a year ago. It'd be in September, August, July. I would say, I wouldn't even say June, but really mid June, late like July through, I can't really say September of last year. September of last year, I got COVID. Um, but I would say around August of last year was one of the best performing months I've ever had in a working field, the field that I work. And it had a balance of pretty much everything. It had a balance of food, diet was one thing, making my own food as opposed to getting like fast food whenever I could, exercising at the same time every day, waking up around the same time every day, really fueling myself with energy that I felt like if I woke up low energy, I would really sort of like remind myself what high energy is like. Sometimes you need caffeine. I don't really drink caffeine though. I didn't really drink coffee. Wasn't pounding away coffee because I think that's kind of an unhealthy habit. If you exercise properly, you can sort of hype yourself up without caffeine. Like if you treat the morning grogginess as a workout and you put like and you I don't want to say pretend, but you sort of put your energy back in your body as if you're lifting weights or doing this or that, you're going to wake yourself up and you're going to realize you're performing better than you were. It's going to make you perform better in a way that garners more results. You're going to be performing as if you would perform in the late afternoon after you get like the gears going, you have lunch, this, that, the other. I think you can really put two and two together pretty easily in that mindset of treating your work like work. Your body is in work mode. So you work, you sort of put energy out as opposed to conserving it for the right time. I mean, you have to have rest phases for sure. Like even if it's like for a minute, you're talking to someone, um, and you have to take a minute just to kind of gather everything and then go back into it. Or you're in construction, you're wiring something together, and you take a minute to make sure that everything's like in proper places, and you go back into it to make sure that everything that you're doing is going to lead to a successful production of the task that you're performing. I mean, the habits that you have in performance based work as well can really dictate how much money you can make, first of all, I guess. Um, and it really applies for most fields. Like, I'm not saying like drown yourself in your work, but do it for like a little bit. Don't burn out from it, but go really hard at your work for like a month, 2 months, and then kind of dial it back a little bit. And that's when you can sort of start to have those little hobbies and such. Like make as much money as you can at your top performing self. And if that money is good, keep doing that. But if you notice the money that kind of slows down, when the money starts to slow down, you kind of have a chance to dial it back a bit until that performance mode is needed again. I've actually had experience where I'll be working at my top performing self, which is actually pretty good. Can't really go into it. Actually, I can, but that would be a different podcast. That'd be another podcast for another time, another day and time for this podcast. But I've worked dead end before, where my top performing self, which would make me a lot more money than I was making, um, just wasn't required. Like it wasn't essential and it wasn't needed, and it it kind of irritated me because I'm used to performance based type work and doing this, that, the other, um, and working dead end at your top performance is gonna punish you for being the best you can be in that position. So it's kind of a and it's so odd. It's kind of cruel because people that work dead end that are in a skill based position, but it's dead end and it's like a capped salary or something, like you're not making as much as you could at another performance based, like an actual performance based place. Like imagine if you're an electrician and you're only getting paid like 40 a year, and the jobs that you're doing, you know that you could freelance for twice the amount of money per year. Um, that's a very defeating reality where you see this a lot too. If you go to a dead end job where someone that may be like at any in any field where you see someone that's just not being that person, like that's not what like a real electrician. Uh, like you're an electrician, you're supposed to know that. You're a salesperson, you're supposed to know that. Like you're supposed to do it like this. You're not supposed to do it like that. You're a plumber. Like you're like they they suppress their own skills because they're capped. They're they can't make as much, so they don't teach themselves how to be better at their craft because shit, I'm only getting paid this, you know. Then I'm getting paid hourly on this fucking job. Are you kidding me? You think I gotta learn this? Get paid regardless, anyways. And it's kind of sickening, honestly. I mean, like I've had days where I didn't feel like I was in my position that I was, but the good days or good months, I was creating my own wealth just by being at such a it's a mindset. It's a certain mindset that you go to that you sort of recognize as being like in your own, not like being in your own world. I want to say being in your own world, but like being a part of the world where you are dictating exactly how much you make, your performance, how you do your job, and a reality is that if you are in a place where you're top performing and you're not getting compensated properly, then you're going to have resentment if you hold on to that. Unless you let that go, then you're not going to be making as much as you should. Your performance is going to slip, and then it's going to negate everything that you've done in performance based work. Like, for instance, if you start holding back on what your skills could be, then you're going to be deterred from taking positions that require that top performing skill that you have because you've resented and you've kept a position that you have to hold back on your own skills or your own ability or your own potential because it wasn't required where you were at or where you're currently at. I don't know. Might be where you're currently at. I'm just saying this is definitely like a big a thing, like a problem. I see it everywhere where I've worked with people where I'll look at them and they seem very normal, like very like down to earth, but like where's what brought you to this particular place? If there's more money to be made elsewhere and this is a place you've been at for a while, and this is the skills that is required in this position, but you're not, but the compensation's not there. Why would you still be at that position there? Why not somewhere else? It might be like more of a risk going somewhere else, but the income potential is there. And if you have years of experience, why don't you make the most money where you can? This is something that I don't understand. And a lot of places, a lot of people, and I say a lot, I'm talking like a lot, where people just aren't maximizing their potential at the place that they need to be. And I guess a lot of it is bullshit. Maybe they bullshit around, and I'm not talking about those that are in like part-time positions, or they know they're there because they're getting tuition and they're graduating soon, and then they're gonna do like in their real field. Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people that they seem like they're dug into that where they're at and making a minimal amount of what that field represents. Like, if you're going to be in a field, why not be the top performing person and make the most money that you can? And if that top performance, you're capped at a certain point, but you know that you can make more money, then go somewhere else. There's a lot of people that are dug in for different reasons, whether it be because of family and they don't have the opportunities to jump ship and go to different places. But then again, there are people that absolutely could, and for some reason, whether it be a security issue where they're more secure doing stuff like a little bit at a time and then not like performing. Some people just don't know how to perform, I guess. I don't know. I guess some of it, and I would almost argue that some of it would be laziness, but I don't think in some people's cases that it is laziness. It's literally like they're frightened. It's a fear. It's a fear thing. Like, I've jumped headfirst into situations that I just felt bad going into the situation, and by the end of the situation, whether there be like some hurdles to get through, that it was actually pretty successful, pretty damn successful. I've had interactions with people in my field of work where, like, starting a conversation with someone, I want to swear at them. I just want to cuss them out so bad. Like, are you really walking up to me with this? What are you asking? What do you want from me? What do you want from me? What do I need to get for you right now? And then by the end of the conversation, we definitely need to get you this because you got to do this, you got to do that. So this is what we're doing, right? Okay. Okay. Great. It was great meeting you. I'll talk to you later. Or, like, I think people are afraid of confrontation. I go full confrontation right out the gate just so they know I'm not afraid of it, and I don't want to have to be confrontational. If I have to speak to someone where I work or for any reason at all, or if a situation's going to be very difficult, just get it out of the way. Like, this is difficult, or just say it's not difficult and just pretend that it's just do it. Just do it. Take your head off of your shoulders and put it beside yourself. Take your brain out of your skull, put it to the side, and whatever it is, just start doing it. That's honestly the best way to perform anything. And I think what some people do when referencing hobbies that people have outside of their profession, some people use that as a motivator. I don't think you have to, and I don't think you should, but the motivator of you're about to do something and you really don't want to do it, but you remind yourself, hey, I got that hobby that I'm going to do after work, so, just keep your eyes on the prize. And I guess that is kind of a good thing if you can actually do it. You might not be as focused because you're going to be slightly focused on eyes on the prize. There's a finite end to this. Well, there's not, but if it gets you to actually do the fucking task, then I guess do it, I guess. But it kind of goes without saying that, and if you pick a profession, you have to recognize, if I'm doing this, I got to be the best at it. or else you're not gonna have the finer things in life. I mean, if you try to, you're gonna be in a lot of debt. Um, there's nothing better than doing such a good job at your job and knowing that you did a good job that day, something that's gonna affect your paycheck, and having a steak dinner that was earned. Doesn't go out of your budget. It's not something you do every day, but it was such a good day for you. Or even like at the end of the week, if you have to tally it at the end of the week, if you're profiting like a lot at the end of the week, like more than you normally do, that steak dinner tastes so good. It is so good. That winning feeling, that feeling of you being a winner and like succeeding. I've had a sad steak dinner before where I've had like a chuck steak dinner because I didn't make as much as I was supposed to make in a particular day or a particular week. And that's sad. Or sometimes I'll just splurge out of my own pocket. I'll go out of pocket. I gotta get a steak dinner tonight. I gotta get something. This is gonna make me depressed. But there's something different between knowing that you did like a perfect, like superb job and rewarding yourself with something like that versus just going out of pocket anyways. I'm gonna get the $13 burger anyways. Well, I'm just gonna get Five Guys regardless. I didn't make that much, but hey, I'm still going to Five Guys. There's nothing rewarding about that. That's like so ass backwards. That's like you doing that as an adult is the same as when a kid is crying his eyes out to get what he wants, or she, like a piece of candy or something. You're doing that just like those annoying kids, but you're an adult and you gave it to yourself anyways. Like, there should be like, I don't want to say shame, but doing that while you're not making your best product or performing at your best is like shooting yourself in the foot. Probably. Most likely. It most likely is. But then again, there's different reasons why people do things. Some people are there, some people are not there. Some people are ready to make that grind, go full grind set, and some people are not gonna ever know what it's like to go full grind set or even partially grind set. We have people that play in the system and people that play outside the system by going full grind set. What does that mean? I guess it means what it means. The grind set, grinding for that cash, that paperweight, baby, that little paperweight. I don't know. Have goals. Goals are pretty good. It's good to have goals when you don't have anything else. If you don't have any hobbies, have a goal. But yeah, that's essentially what I've been kind of up to the past couple years. Again, a couple years ago, even when I was on these other or doing these other podcasts, like my previous ones, this might be like a revitalized podcast or something. I don't know. But my other podcasts are not as they're good in a way, but I mean they're kind of not. They're kind of okay. They're kind of grounded in a way. I don't know. The other ones aren't really too good. They're okay, but I wouldn't really classify them as anything other than just boring talk, if that makes sense. Boring talk is good. Let me clear this up. It's good, but it's not really in anything particular. It's just different. It's a little bit different. Not too different, but it's slightly different. The new age ones, this one, I don't know, future ones are going to be more like this, I guess. I don't care. I don't care regardless. I might not make another one at all. ever again. But no, 2 years. I think it's been 2 years since my last podcast. Apart from that other one that I had, that I made back in like April. I made one back in April or something close to April, May, March. I think it was like in March, and it was okay. It was like a reflective type talk. I was feeling very grounded at that point in time, and I realized where like that I hadn't been like, I don't know, just been out of my mind years prior. Not really feeling like myself. I think that's what it was. But that's the thing too. You gotta have these routines and healthy routines when you're in full grind set, so that you're not escaping as much. I think escapism is sort of like the schism where people don't know their potential because they're schismed into whatever it is that their hobby, their escape is. Some people are so dug into their escapism that they don't even know how to function properly at all. And I think I was escaping at some point too much. Not really, but in a way where like I escaped into a shell that it took a long time to break out of. I think I really broke out of that shell, I would say, about a year ago, I would say. I mean, having to deal with the bullshit of the world is one thing too, and that can really set you back. I've had it to where people that have opinions of me or think me as a certain way, you have to be okay knowing that the real person that you are is not going to be perceived by most people, like, ever. And that's not like a bad thing. It's not a, let them think of you however. How about don't think of it at all? But, don't harbor any bad thoughts or negative thoughts or anything like that. People's opinions are kind of odd, like what people think of you or how they think they should think of you or how they think of you compared, contrasted to who you are, to what you are. Like some people think so two-dimensionally, one-dimensional. This person is a gamer because he said one day that he played a video game. He's a gamer. He's gamer. This person talked about a recipe that was more complicated than a grilled cheese. That's the chef. Hey, what's up, chef? You must be from a long line of chefs. That's the chef. I'd actually rather be thought of one-dimensionally than any other dimension, now that I think about it. God, that's dumb. That is so dumb. But no, overall, escapism is gonna harbor harbor harner garner hinder return to sender, hinder render sender, hinder your potential in your field. And if you're escaping because you are at a dead end field, then you need to change the dead end field to a lucrative field and, destroy your vices. And then see what happens in your field of work. You'll probably make a shit ton of money. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying it from personal experience, but kind of. Sometimes you have to put yourself on hold in a way from what your vices are and what that inner screaming child that your low state of being is. The person that wants to hit the snooze button too many times. If you put that person on hold and you're in that field where it can be lucrative, you're going to make so much fucking money. I'm just saying. And then afterwards, after you make the money, you can hit the snooze button all you want for like 2 days. But that's another, I had another point too. You got to treat your off days as if you're fighting for your life. Like I had oh my God, I had a really good routine. I kind of miss it. It's okay. It is what it is. I had a 3-day weekend every other week. And that I would be, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good one. Where I'd have a 3-day weekend and then I would work for like 10 days with 1 day off in between those 10 days. That would be the grind set week. Even though it's 10 days, that's just the week. That's just the grind set week. 10 days, or 9 days, really. But those days, I'd be living at my job thinking, what's the next move? What's this? What's the next move? But those 3 days off, even like on that one off day, is like, okay, it's just a small break. Kind of have to be home or wherever I'm at. I guess I can grocery shop. That's it. On the 3-day weekend, I would use that as like a mental health cleansing, and it would work. It works. The day that I would get off, which would usually be like a Saturday, would have been like a Saturday, I would get so fucking hammered. Like a 6-pack of Elysian space dusts, which are like 8.2%, which is equivalent to like 13, 14, 15 beers. 14 beers. No. That is excessive, but I mean, I would get nearly blackout. Not, you don't want to black out. I'm just saying, get extremely hammered that when you get home from working 10 days or whatever, so that next morning, which is going to suck, but you're going to feel like empty. Empty in a good way. Not a bad way, but in like a clean slate kind of way. Some people get drunk after work and then they get too fucked up and then they have to go to work in the morning. That's unhealthy. You're in a clean slate at your own job. This is not how you do it. And this is not, I'm not recommending this. This is just what I did on that 3-day weekend. Get really annihilated, super hammered, because you can tell, I used to do like, and I still do every now and again, like a guitar video or something. I'll put it on TikTok. I remember recording like a guitar video for TikTok on this particular like weekend or whatever, like the last day of work before my 3-day weekend, and I had like a tired look on my face. I got very annihilated. I made another TikTok like the next day of like a guitar video, and I looked so innocent. And it was because that first day is to like expel all of like the bullshit that you deal with throughout your work week. And then that second day, or really technically your first off day, I use that to just kind of ground myself from the working world. You have to go into off day mindset. Off day mindset, grind set. This is my off day. And you're just free to do whatever. And you do whatever. And you don't worry about work. People that work, what is that? You have to get so annihilated the night before that you don't even know that people go to work. People go to work? What do you mean? What do they do? What do they do? What do you mean? They go to work? What is work? I'm just trying to chill. It puts you in like a clean mindset. That's what I'm saying. And then that first off day, you kind of chill. Is that the other? Second day is really a mental health day. I'm talking like where you're listening to the finest of music, you're observing art, you're involving yourself in the goodness of nature. You're going outside and you're not just looking at the trees and the sky, but you're being a part of it, a part of the world, like Earth, not corporate America or whatever, but like Earth. Like you're touching grass on that second day. And then the third day is recovery from your second day, knowing that the next day I have to go back into the working corporate world or just the working world itself. That rest day, that third day, is really sort of bittersweet, the most bittersweet day. And then when you go back into the working world, you do it all over again. It's not that bad. It's a pretty good routine. 3-day weekends. If y'all don't have 3-day weekends where you work, make a request. Say, I'll work 10 days in a row for a 3-day weekend. It's for my mental health. It's for my benefit. But that's how I made the most out of my situation. The most success that a person can make is through healthy habits and good routines, solid, grounded routines that become fundamental in your success. And I think that's what the podcast is about today. It's just how to make the most money ever of all time. And we're going to end it there. It's an hour. That's good. That's good enough. I could talk more, clearly. Then again, this is just the introduction back into the podcast world. Might be the first podcast, the Resurgence. Resurgence, episode 1. Yeah, I like that. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, peeps. I'll peep y'all out later, or tomorrow or something. I don't know. Who knows? Take it easy, or don't take it too easy. Take it slightly easy. Don't take it too hard. Okay. Whatever. Peace out.